times. Please self-isolate until further notice.
Well, these are certainly interesting times we live in. The movie industry, as well as society at large, is increasingly shutting down, and of course, we need to address that. In this editorial, I will begin by going through what has gone down so far, who is to blame, what repercussions it may ultimately have, both for the movie industry and for society at large. I'll also sprinkle in my personal perspective on all of this, as I just happen to be in a country that is right now on complete lockdown. Usually, this channel is all about genre entertainment and the corporate politics that goes into making it. On occasion, though, real-world events might influence that particular bubble, and this is decidedly one of those occasions. If you are someone whose mental well-being rides on trigger warnings being handed out, consider this to be it, because there will be some real talk in this video. Things have now escalated so far that this platform has given up its attempts at containing it and protecting the perpetrator. As such, there is no further need for hiding behind phrases like the virus of which we cannot speak, that hail from the country that must not be named. It is time to put all pretensions aside. We are dealing with the latest in a long line of viral gifts from China, COVID-19, the coronavirus. Based on reliable numbers, meaning the ones primarily from Europe, early indications are that of those that do get infected, about 80 to 90% will display either no or only very mild symptoms. Most people from ages 0 up to, say, the mid-40s, without prior medical conditions, will find themselves among these 80 to 90%. Problem is that even if being infected by the coronavirus may be smooth sailing for all of these people, they're still carriers for up to 3 weeks. Someone by all outwardly appearances healthy may thus inadvertently carry the infection to someone who might get really ill from it. That can easily happen, because the coronavirus is airborne and hyper-infectious. No coughing is necessary. The infection can be spread by merely breathing in close proximity. As I said, 80 to 90% or so of the infected will experience no or only mild symptoms. The remaining 10 to 20%, however, will experience more severe symptoms. For most of them, these symptoms will be like those of a severe flu, which may put them out of commission for a few weeks, but that they will recover from. But for some of them, the pulmonary function will be impaired, and they will require hospitalization. Depending on how fast they get treatment, they might live, but some of them might never regain the full lung function they had before, and some won't make it, period. So in terms of pure percentage of the population affected, this isn't all that much worse than a nasty strain of the flu. However, since the coronavirus may be a whopping 3 times as infectious as even the nastiest strain of the flu, and there is no immunity yet, tens of millions to hundreds of millions worldwide are going to get infected. Even if only a small fraction of them require hospitalization, no country has the medical capacity to deal with what that means in hard numbers, which in turn means that many of those who, with treatment, could have made a full recovery will still live, but won't be the same, while others who with treatment would have lived with impairments will die. This is the case in Italy right now. They only have so many beds, and they only have so much equipment, that hospital staff have to decide who gets to have treatment and live, and who doesn't, and therefore have to die, even if they, if treated, also would have lived. That, incidentally, reveals a massive fallback in the infrastructure of not just Italy, but the entire Western world. This problem could have been mitigated by increasing the production of medicine and medical supplies, but that option is not on the table, because there for all intents and purposes aren't any production facilities. The fact of the matter is that over the past 30 years, both the US and Europe have outsourced all of that production in its entirety to India and China. As such, hospitals in the entire Western world have been made completely dependent upon production facilities located in China and India for all supplies. Following from that, they're also dependent on a working supply chain. If that should be affected, mortality rates will soar even higher. That is what we're dealing with, and the rate of infection is what makes this worse than anything anyone currently alive have had to deal with before. As a result, fear and uncertainty rules, and because of that, the societal infrastructure shuts down and markets collapse, which I'll get back to in a bit. So, who do we have to thank for all of this? China, the self-proclaimed Middle Kingdom, are now bragging about how well they dealt with the situation within their borders. And most recently, they even had the audacity to claim it was brought there from America. Which I, as someone not from America, find completely ridiculous. Here in the West, some politicians have expressed concerns that pointing out the Chinese connection may be racist, since they don't want to stigmatize the Chinese. Or more likely, upset Chinese trading partners. I agree, of course, that no one should blame any individual person, either from China or of Chinese descent, for this. This is not the fault of the Chinese people. So, to anyone from China who may be watching, know that I'm not blaming you. This viral outbreak isn't your fault. It is, however, 100% the fault of the Chinese authorities that this happened, because they have allowed the conditions that facilitate the evolution of such viruses to carry on, unchecked. And it's not like there haven't been warnings. COVID-19 is but the latest in a long line of devastating viruses to come out of their dangerously overcrowded and dangerously unsanitary live animal markets. Case in point, it's called COVID-19 to separate it from the previous COVIDs that also came from there. Until China shuts these viral spawning grounds down, this will happen again and again. And next time, it could be something even worse. So yes, do blame China. Not the people, but the authorities. This is their Chernobyl, and it is affecting the entire world. Their lies and their refusal to admit the problem and actual numbers until it was way too late has directly led to the shutdowns and market collapse we're now seeing. The only way that China will take measures to prevent this from happening again is if international society puts the pressure on and forces them to do so. It is therefore important that China be held accountable for this. Any politician, any states leader that refuses to do so, or otherwise tries deflecting the issue, is doing a disservice to not just their own constituents, but to the people of the entire world. So, with what is going on and who is to blame for it established, let's move on to the real-world repercussions. This channel is devoted to genre entertainment as a general thing, so let's begin with that. Hollywood is freaking out, for several reasons. First and foremost, because people aren't going to the movies right now. This actually started in Asia, which is why Sonic the Hedgehog is doing so poorly internationally. But it spread to Europe, and as of this weekend, the States, and soon the rest of the world. As a result, movie after movie that was about to premiere is being pushed back anywhere from 6 months to a year or more. The upcoming movies that haven't been pushed back yet soon will. People also aren't going to theme parks, so Disney and Universal will feel the sting of that. Any of their parks still open at the time of making this video won't be for long. Also, movies that were about to begin production will no doubt be suspended. Studios don't want the liability of their stars getting infected while on the job. For quite a few productions, that suspension will be permanent. Furthermore, many studios may face short-term liquidity problems, as anyone that isn't Netflix are about to see their quarterly earnings tank, since, summer blockbuster season just got cancelled. At the very least, the first half of it. That, in turn, will lead to more productions being cancelled. This current disruption in the production chain will affect Hollywood and what ends up on screen, both big and small, for years to come. In the bigger scheme of things, though, there is much more to be worried about. The current pandemic will pass. I can't say how long that will take. Depends on the severity of the measures taken, but it will pass. What honestly has me more worried is the economic downturn that will follow in the wake of the pandemic, or rather, the shutdowns needed to control it. For those that don't know, I'm only a part-time YouTuber. My day job is in banking and finance, so this is an area I have at least some level of familiarity with. Some businesses will boom because of this outbreak, but many companies, both large and small, will go under as a result of their customers being quarantined, voluntarily or otherwise, for months on end. The aviation industry will be hit particularly hard, as will any area that depends on tourism and most places that requires customers physically step into their premises. Many will lose their jobs and their income, and the ripple effects that will have on the economy is going to be major. This could be worse than the financial crash of 2008, but how much worse and for how long, no one can say right now. It is that uncertainty which causes the stock markets around the world to crumble right now. How fast will markets recover? Impossible to say, but I do think the speed of recovery will vary greatly in different territories. Over the last, say, 4 years, the US economy has taken some measures to make it more self-reliant, which should greatly speed up the recovery stateside. Provided, of course, that it continues the measures already started. However, in Europe in general, and the Nordic countries in particular, where outsourcing and automation has carried on unimpeded for decades and turned the economy into giant houses of cards. The effect this could have on the economy could be brutal. It will be interesting to see this play out in the months to come. The company I work for has been keeping tabs on the situation for a few weeks now, and this Wednesday, the final order went out. We are all to work from home until further notice. On Thursday, the entire country went into lockdown. All schools and all kindergartens and all public buildings were closed down effective immediate and until further notice. By Thursday evening, the supermarkets did something they have never done before, namely run out of supplies. Granted, they were restocked the very next day, so I'm not too worried about the supply chains, but it's kind of surreal here right now. Like all the other governments of Europe, this one responded way too late. But that made the public unease all the more severe when they did in one go all the measures that they should have started rolling out a month ago. This whole place is a ghost town right now. There is no one on the streets. Everyone is in voluntary isolation at home. It's a bit surreal, almost like a movie. I guess many must be watching Netflix right about now, because that was actually pixelated yesterday. I wasn't watching much though, because now when I have the time for it, I plan on making more content for all of you guys, and to finally get caught up with some Patreon exclusive content I still owe. So to those of you waiting to hear me narrate stories of Norse mythology, it's coming soon. Now I even have the opportunity to attend more live shows, so I will certainly be keeping busy. If you too should find yourself inside with more time on your hands, and you run out of content on YouTube to keep you entertained, then why not try Audible? There you will find no end of audiobooks and spoken word entertainment, including podcasts and news updates on the whole corona situation. And if you want to help out this channel while you're at it, visit the link audible.com/midnightsedge, or if you're in the US, text MidnightSedge to 500 500. If, on the other hand, you want to see your entertainment, like maybe some cool exclusive content you may otherwise be geographically restricted from seeing, then you need a VPN. Because in addition to providing you with security features that you need anyway, and hiding exactly what it is that you do on the internet. A virtual private network allows you to change the country you access the internet from, thereby bypassing geo-blocking restrictions. The VPN that we use and that we recommend is Surfshark VPN. If you type in the code MIDNIGHT while ordering, that triggers a special deal in which you get 83% off the normal list price, plus 1 extra month for free, and you get a 30-day money-back guarantee, so there's no risk in trying it out. All links are in the description, so in these trying of times, there doesn't have to be any shortage of entertainment if nothing else. Do let me know your thoughts on all of this in the comments.